Hey guys, it's Misty with My Paper Cuts, and today I'm coming on to share week three's project for Susan Tootsie Tucker's Halloween Craftin' with My Ghouls collab. And this week we are doing an altered frame. And please make sure you go down to the description box below and check out all the links for all the wonderful artists who are participating in this collab. I am just stunned by some of the amazing projects that we've had. They are all so beautiful. They're so inspiring. I love Halloween, so this has been a lot of fun for me. And also make sure you check out Alicia's Crafty Hoplop. She's hosting a Halloween hop collab, and our collaboration is actually a piggyback onto hers. And there is a link to her collab as well down below. And they are doing some different projects, so it's really interesting to have both collabs going with so much Halloween inspiration. I can't wait for Halloween to get here. I'm going to keep going with Halloween projects after this. But anyway, without further ado, I'm kind of stalling here because I'm not super thrilled with my project this week. But like I said in my intro video that I did before this, and I showed the frame before, I promised myself this year I would do some mixed media projects, and I sat down and did it. So please be gentle with me. Please have some understanding. This is very new to me. And, well, let's just go ahead and get started. So for those of you who haven't seen my previous videos, I am actually working with this collection from Graphic 45. It is called Steampunk Spells. I did buy this in a D-stash, and so I was anxious to use it. I've always wanted this collection, and it's one of those that I just promised myself I wouldn't hoard. I would actually use it for this collaboration. So I have the 12 by 12, I have the 8 by 8, I have all the little accessories that go with it. And as I go through, I will share some of the other products that I used in case any of you are interested. And here is my frame. So for anyone who didn't see my previous video, this was a black and white frame that I started with that had a die cut layer on it already. And I added some texture paste to it. I used white sand texture paste, and I just went over it in some spots just to give it some more texture and roughness. And then I gessoed everything in white. Now originally I was going to do black because I knew I was using oxide sprays, but I decided to go with the white because I just didn't want to wash the whole thing out. And I think next time I try a project, which won't be anytime soon because I met a lot of frustration with this, I think next time I will do a black gesso base, just because I tend to lean towards the darker colors and the more macabre and creepy and spooky, kind of gothic-y type. That's probably why I was drawn to this paper collection so much. But the center of this frame is 5 by 5, and what I did was I used, this is the cover, but I used the signature sheet, and this shows it pretty well. I wanted this girl in the frame. I love her, and when you cut her out, this Potions and Curiously Creepy Charms little banner here is obviously part of that. So even when I put her in the frame the way I wanted her, which I wanted this side right here, I still had just a little piece of that banner on the underside. So I decided to embrace it, and I used the second sheet, and I fussy cut out the banner. And I'll show you guys a flatter view of this in just a moment, but I just kind of pressed it down. I put a little bit of foam behind it, and I just kind of made it dimensional and curled up the edges. I inked it a little bit, and I just embraced that it was there, but I put it on the outside of the frame. The glass that was in the frame is behind the photo. I didn't want the glass in front because I wanted to do these three-dimensional things. So the other thing that I did was I used that second signature sheet, I believe that's what they call it, to cut out the wings, and I put some foam underneath, and I wrinkled it down. I glued it flat here and flat here, but then there's some foam underneath, and then I wrapped it here, and here I kind of tucked it behind, but it still has some dimension as well. And then on here, I used, I'm just going to go from the center out. I hope that's okay with everyone because there's a lot going on. This project took me a long time. So here, I kind of embraced the feathers in her hat. I don't know if you can see them better on here, but there were feathers on her hat. And then, of course, you have the goggles, which is kind of a steampunk standard. So I went to Michael's, and I bought this little pick that is like red and peacock feathers. I love this one right here. It's my favorite, but it was way too big for this project. But I wanted these tendrils in the middle, and then, of course, one of the feathers and some of the little fuzzies at the bottom. And I glued that down to the hat, and then I added a paper rose over the top. The one in the photo is red, but I really wanted to embrace more of the blue. So that is there. And then I did some glossy accents on the goggle lenses as well as this little clock face. And then I added some Nouveau vintage drops to the centers of some of the roses there. And then this frame here, that was the first thing I did. I actually did a patina finish with this, which is from Prima. It is the three different things. You have the blue and the green texture pastes, which these are very gritty, which adds that real patina texture. And then you hit it with a little bit of this copper metallic, which adds that little bit of shine that will peek through when bronze is a patina. On the other video, you saw that this little piece of the frame was just raw wood. So that was really fun. I painted it black first just to add some depth, and then I did the patina finish over the top. And somewhere here I have, I have the bat. So this bat right here is actually this bat that is from Tim Holtz. And I just glued it down and then patinaed right over the top. And if I bring that in a little bit closer, you guys can see it is still a bat. Some of his detail does get lost under the patina, but I do like the way that he looks there. And then down here, I have these metallic gears here. I ordered this big old bag from Amazon when I knew I was doing this project. And they're kind of a copper color, but I glued them down with glossy accents. I like to use glossy accents when I use metal. And then, of course, I did the patina over the top. And everywhere the gears are on this, I actually added patina just to tie all the gears together. And then on the frame itself, like I said, I gessoed it in white. And then I hit it with this oxide spray, which I was just telling my friend P, what's up, P? I now look like an Oompa Loompa, and I probably will for a while because I think this nozzle is defective. And when I spray, it squirts out this bottom piece here, and it got on my face, it got on my arm. I have an orange shirt now. It is water reactive, so I imagine it will wash out, but I was pretty much drenched in orange trying to get this on there. And then I also use this oxide spray, which is the broken china. This is kind of a theme going on through my projects here, but it matches this paper so well, I just couldn't resist using it again. And then the brown, I may have to scoot it a little bit further back. This brown here is actually walnut ink. And it dried a little shiny. I wasn't super thrilled, but I couldn't get my hands on the color of the Distress Oxide in the brown that I wanted, so I just went with the walnut ink. And then let's see. Okay, so then, oh, you know what? Before I did when I did the texture paste, I actually added some laces. So I have this floral lace, which is hard to see, but it's right here. And then I had this wider lace that I attached. And I just did that for some additional texture. And then I gessoed right over the top of it so that I would have the texture, but I wouldn't have the color showing through. So that is also added. And then this is a little piece of cardboard. I did all this work to make this kind of raw corrugated cardboard, and then I covered it all up. Lesson learned. I won't do that again. So the cardboard was also on there as well before I gessoed so that everything could be done. Now for the flowers, I didn't really have the colors that I wanted in the sizes that I wanted. So what I did was, some of you may recognize this little piece right here. This is actually an Amy Tangerine little, they're like little, I think they're suede or something. They're just these kind of spiky flowers. I attached that. That was actually yellow. I had made this flower a long time ago with some of my scraps and with the tattered florals dye from Tim Holtz, and you roll it and you make these wonderful roses. It was purple, and I gessoed over the top so I could make it orange. And then this flower here and this one here and this one up here were some paper flowers that I had in my stash. These two were kind of a minty green, and this one was just a white, and I colored those. And these are with the oxide sprays, and this is actually with a, I'm not really sure what I did with it. I tried, oh, here it is, with a liquid acrylic. Just to make, I wanted it to be gray, not black, so I could water down that liquid acrylic easier than regular acrylic, so that's what I did. And then this one here is actually a yellow fabric flower that I gessoed to give it some of this stiffness, but it is still soft. And I also colored these two first with some liquid acrylic, and that didn't give me the opacity that I wanted, so I went back with this again, which is again why I look like an Oompa Loompa. Okay, where to next? So that's the flowers. This is a metal feather that I got at Tuesday morning, and I gessoed that so that I could put the orange oxide spray on it. And then let's see what else. Oh, there's some burlap leaves down here at the bottom. And there's some more gears. And then the other thing that I wanted to go over. Okay, so this right here, this clock. Let me bring it in here a little bit closer. It's really hard to tell. This light's kind of washing it out. But it is a Graphic 45 die. Right here. It's just that center clock piece. And then I cut it out in 3 times in some white heavyweight cardstock and layered them up, and then I added some embossing ink, and then I sprinkled these 2 glazes. So I have the fire brick and the broken china, and these are my little swatches so you guys can see what those colors look like. I just sprinkled it randomly so that I could have both colors on there. I wanted to pick up some of this red, so I just did a little bit of fire brick on that. And then the center is just a circle die that came, this center here that came with this Graphic 45. And I cut it out in some of the pattern paper in orange. I don't know if you all remember this gear die that I still have bits and pieces of in both the gold and the black that I used on my Memdex cards. And I just added that to the center. And then here's another copper gear. And I left that one copper just because I wanted that to bring out that orange a little bit. And then let's see. Oh, so then there's a couple of spider charms on here. There's one up here. And this one down here is probably a little bit easier to see. Those are Tim Holtz spider charms. And then probably the last thing to share on this is I used these. I have this size here, the smaller size, and then these larger ones of these glass, they're what do they call them? I think they just call them glass gems, but they're from Dollar Tree, and they're just these large glass gems, and some of them have kind of this iridescent finish, and some are more clear. And because I wanted the detail of what was underneath to show through, I used the more clear ones, like this. And I used glossy accents, and I glued them to some specific spots on the pattern papers. And so that's how I got this little black clock here. And then there is that clock there. And then the owl. The owl is probably my favorite. I've been trying to tie him in, but unfortunately that paper is really busy, so I haven't used it very much. But this was the perfect time, and I love the dimension that you get with that, because it kind of, the beads themselves, or the gems themselves, actually, they magnify the image, so it makes it a lot larger. And here's another example of one that I didn't use, but you guys can see how they magnify the image. And with the glossy accents, they dry very, very quickly, so it's just a good way. These are really fun to add the magnets to the back of. But so that is my altered frame, and I promised more of a flat view of it so you guys could see. Oh, and then there's this right here. This is one of these little chippy pieces from Tim Holtz. Like, they come like this. And I just dipped those into some embossing ink, and I hit that with, again, that glaze, the embossing glaze in broken china, to change the color because I didn't want it to be stark white. And then also in various places there are some of these vintage drops from Nuvo in the black. I think I just added those not too long ago, so they're not really quite dry, but you can see they're tucked in. I just wanted some little spots of black here and there. But so here is more of a close-up of some of that detail there. Hopefully you guys can get a gander at that texture and some of the shine. Hopefully there's not too much ink on my fingers and grunge under my fingernails, but that's definitely part of mixed media. I don't know how quickly I will be doing another mixed media project. I was telling P again that I'm going to have to buy probably a case of baby wipes and paper towels if I'm ever going to attempt mixed media again. I made a big old mess with this. You guys, it's no joke. So that is my share for this week's project. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And I hope you enjoyed. And again, make sure that you guys go and check out the other videos. There's so much inspiration to be had. This has been such a fun collab. I still have lots of paper left, and my last project will use up a bit of it. Probably not everything, but I'll do my best. So again, you guys have a great week. I hope you enjoyed my project and everyone else's, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.